there, Meekachii here. Today we're going to be doing a way super long overdue book haul. Like, I was supposed to do this haul in like November. I'm not going to go into great detail for these books because A, I have a lot of them, and B, I don't know much about them because I don't really want to know much about them. Because a lot of them are fantasy, and I don't really like knowing too much about my fantasy books before going in because it tends to spoil way too much. So I'll probably go over what I got, why I got it, give a little info if I know it, and move on to the next one. The first book I picked up was Isle of Blood and Stone by Meekachii. Lucier? I don't know. I know that this book doesn't come out until March, April, and the cover is actually not going to look like this anymore. I've heard really good things about it, so I requested it, and they did send me a copy. I hear it has to do with, like, a cartographer, I believe. Yeah, a map maker, and they find some, like, secretive map and go on this journey. Like, to me, it sounded very, like, pirate-esque, and I'm always looking for, like, a good, like, adventure story, so I figured I would give this one a try. I picked up this one a while ago. It is Wonder by R.J. Palacio, I don't know. I know that this one's already a movie, and a lot of people love this story. It has, like, ridiculous reviews. I basically bought it because anything that has, like, crazy good reviews, I feel like I need to read it, even though I don't always love it myself. I don't really know much about it, besides that it's super raved, and I need to know if I like it or not. I'm not really in the mood to read it, so I probably won't read it anytime soon, but I have it when I want to. You're also going to notice I have a lot of fantasy in here because I thoroughly believe I did not read enough, like, good fantasy last year, so I need to, like, step up and get into my fantasy game again. So the next one I picked up was Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castile. I never look up how to say these names beforehand. I don't know anything about it besides that a lot of people rave about it, say it's a great fantasy adventure story, and I'm trying to kind of collect the first books in a lot of different fantasy series, especially like older ones that I've never read before. So that's what I did with this one. Then I got Rose Marked by Olivia Blackburn. I got this in a subscription box. I want to say it was... Heck, I can't remember. I want to say it was uppercase. I always find when I read this synopsis, like, I cannot remember it for the life of me. It's, from what I can understand, like a million other young adult books. A guy and a girl who are nothing alike have to do something together and kind of their relationship blooms. I honestly did read about this before I got that subscription box, and I was like, I don't know if I'm interested enough to buy it. But then I got it, so I was like, alright, maybe someday I'll read it, so we'll see. Let me know if you guys have read this before and what you thought of it down below if you've read it. Then, this book I got an ARC copy of. It's called Time Bomb by Joelle Charbonneau. I don't know why I requested this, because it's not normally like my go-to type of book, but maybe I saw it had good ratings or something. I don't know, because I'm definitely going to read it soon because I try to read my ARCs before they actually come out. It's basically about a group of kids in high school who end up getting banded together during a bombing of their school, and then they find out that the person doing the bombing is probably still inside the school, and they start, like, suspecting one another. And like I said, I don't normally go for that type of thing, but something drew me to ask for this book, so I guess I'll find out soon. Then I decided to pick up The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, which I'm sure everyone's heard of these two authors by now. It is a middle grade novel. It's a middle grade novel. I know nothing about it besides that people rave about it, and it's written by two really good authors, so I decided to get it. Then my beloved Seanan McGuire, I got Down Among the Sticks and Bones. This is the second book to the Every Heart a Doorway series. I don't know how many books it's going to be because I just finished Beneath the Sugar Sky. I think that's what it's called, by her, and it's actually the third installment. For that book, you can actually just read the first one and then go into that one. You don't necessarily have to read this one. But for this one, I've heard that you should read the first one. I've actually read the third one and not the second one. I know it's really bad, but I can't wait to get into this one because it's more like gothic sounding, and I really love that like kind of setting. Even though Jack and Jill weren't my favorite characters, I still hear that this one's pretty good. So I'm totally definitely gonna pick this up soon. Then I decided to get Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, and I had seen this cover of this book floating around on YouTube, and Dog. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I've seen this cover floating around on YouTube, and I really, really wanted it, so I went on Book Depository and finally got a good copy of a book off of there, which was, you know, great because my last one was completely destroyed. I know nothing about this besides I think it's his first book ever, and a lot of people don't really like it. It gets very mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people hate it, and I love Brandon Sanderson, even though I've only read 3 of his books, but hey, I mean, I loved it, so I want to start getting into more stuff that he does. Dog, stop making so much noise, bro. Then, Retribution Rails by Aaron Bowman. I actually already read this book. I don't remember if it was my last wrap-up. I think it was. But I ended up giving it, I believe, a 4.5 out of 5. I actually liked it a little better than the first one, Vengeance Road. You don't have to read Vengeance Road before picking this one up, but I do recommend it. I actually highly recommend that you pick that one up first because there's so many throwbacks from the first one that you really can't appreciate them in this book unless you read that one first. But I did end up liking this one slightly better. This series is like really good, and I hope she does kind of like continue in this world. Then I got this enormous book, The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. Another, you know, fantasy book that I hear is a classic and fantastic, and I wanted to collect a lot of fantasy books, and this is the first one in a trilogy, it looks like. So I decided to get it. I hear it's really good. It's huge. It is like way bigger than I thought it was going to be. Going with that same theme of books that I heard were good, I picked up The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. Is this the Gentleman Bastard series? I think it is. I don't know anything about it because I've never read it, but I could only find it in this stupid small edition, which sucks because these are really hard to read. But I don't know, I hear it's about thievery and mercenaries and a lot of action and fun and classic. Then another massive book that I didn't know was massive that I picked up is Swan Song by Robert McCammon. I hear that this is like a post-apocalyptic type story, kind of told through a bunch of people and like a bunch of different people and how they survive in this crazy world after I don't know what happened. I don't really want to know what happened because that would totally ruin it. But yeah, I hear it's another classic. Not really classic, but you know what I mean. Then I decided to finally try out Robin Hobb, which I know everyone can yell at me that I've never read anything by Robin Hobb. And I hear that she's a fantastic author, and she is one of Jay Kristoff's favorites, or his favorite, and he's like one of my favorite authors right now, so I decided, hey, I should probably pick up some of her books. These are from 2 different series, and they're the first in those series, so I got Ship of Magic and Assassin's Apprentice. Not sure which one I'm supposed to read first, like which series I'm supposed to read first, and I'm not sure. I don't know anything. This one looks like a pirate story. This one looks like a fantasy. So, I don't know. I don't really want to know anything about these, but if you guys have a suggestion as to which series I should go with first, leave me a comment down below, and I will definitely, you know, appreciate it. This is getting too tall. Then I got another classic, which I think is technically literally a classic this time, The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafran. How do you say that, Meek? You speak Spanish, right? I hear that this is really good. I really have not heard anyone say anything bad about this book. And I'm really mad because Amazon sent me like a completely destroyed copy. I have another one on its way, but you know, I wanted to do this haul video, so I decided to get out my broken copy and show you guys. But yeah, I know nothing about it. I'm sorry, this is really boring because I don't know anything about any of these books, but like I said before, I do that on purpose because I don't want to know too much. Instead of ruin stuff, and ruining stuff is not fun. Then, this book I actually have started, The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the first book in the Witcher series. I'm actually doing, I know there's a booktuber, her name's Elliot. I'll put a link to her channel down below. I really like watching her videos, and she is a huge Witcher fan, and she's actually doing a read-along right now, so I decided I wanted to do that with her, and I'm only on the first section. Like, the next section is supposed to be read by Wednesday, and I don't know if I'm going to make it on time, but this is basically a book of short stories, and the second one is a book of short stories as well, and then they go on to like regular sized books. My husband is a huge fan of the video game, and I hear nothing but good things about the books as well, so I want to find out what's so great about this world for myself. So far, I'm really liking it. By the way, side note, I'm really liking the writing style, even though it was kind of hard to get into at first because there is so much information packed in such a small section, but it's really interesting so far. And Geralt, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Geralt is a really awesome character so far. Then I got The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. This is the first book of the book club that we're doing for January, so we're going to be doing a live stream on this one on January 13th. But I'm about 100 pages in, and my goodness, I'm having such a hard time getting into this book. I don't know if anyone has started reading this for my read-along. Let me know down below, like, if you're having a hard time reading it too. I feel like 100 pages in and, like, nothing's happened yet. Is that spoiling? It's probably spoiling, but I don't know. I've tabbed some stuff. I have some thoughts, but I'm really having a hard time. But basically, it's supposed to be about this town in Ohio where this guy puts an ad in the newspaper inviting the devil to the town, and then a 13-year-old boy shows up in the town saying that he is the devil, and along with him comes this heat wave, and then some pretty bad stuff starts happening, and it seemed really interesting, and it is still an interesting premise. I just feel like it's executed slowly and with too much detail so far, but I'm going to keep tracking, and, you know, I'll let you guys know later on what I think about it. Now, I got The Black Prism by Brent Weeks, and at first I only heard really good things about this book, and I actually think it's a series. It must be a Lightbringer series, because this is just book number 1. I don't know how many are out, but then I started hearing negative reviews popping in, people saying that this author is really sexist, or the book is really sexist. Me personally, I don't get offended very easily, and I don't usually even notice stuff like that. So I'm kind of wondering while reading this what I think of that and if I even pick up on it, because like I said, I don't usually. So I'm still going to read this. I don't know much about it. Again, I know it has light magic, or magic is integrated with light somehow, and it's a fantasy story. That's all I know, and I know it's controversial, sort of. Then I decided to pick up Star Wars Leia, Princess of Alderaan. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I haven't really read a lot of the books since Disney took over. I was a little hurt when I found out that all of my Star Wars books that I had read in the past are no longer canon, and it's not easy to realize that, like, the 20 books you've read mean nothing now. So there is a whole new list. There's actually a Wikipedia page that you can find that tell you all the new canon books. So the books put out since Disney took over. This is one of them. It says, a thrilling adventure is set before Star Wars A New Hope and contains clues about the upcoming film The Last Jedi. Well, we already know what happens in The Last Jedi, but I love Princess Leia. I'm really sad about Carrie Fisher not being around anymore, and she was just always one of my favorite Star Wars characters, so I really want to, you know, find out more about her and how she kind of, like, learned everything that she knows, because we don't really know that yet, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. But I love this character. Side note, I'm a little upset, not upset, a little hurt, because I was told that I was going to be sent a finished copy of this book back when it came out in, like, September, and they never sent it, so I just got fed up with waiting and bought it myself, and I still haven't received it, but it's cool. It's cool. Then I picked up this monster of a book, Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I I think there's only 2 books in this series out right now. Maybe I think people are waiting for the 3rd one, and it takes a while for this author to put out books, but I don't mind. It's cool. I have not read this book yet, but I have been meaning to for a while, so when I saw this gorgeous 10th anniversary edition, I was like, I need to have it. It's probably one of the most expensive books I've bought in a long time, because I'm usually pretty stingy and only get my books on Amazon, but even on Amazon, this thing was still like $20, which is kind of a lot for Amazon, side note, but I'm just like obsessed with how this book looks, and even like the inside is like super pretty. And I don't know what the book looks like. Nothing fancy, surprisingly. I mean, that's kind of cool. But there's illustrations, and supposedly there's 50 extra pages of fun stuff. And I just noticed that this book is $40.
How much you pay for it?
20, but
oh,
still,
okay.
like $40. I don't know. But yeah, here has a bunch of illustrations and some extra pages, and I don't know anything about this, so please no spoiling it for me, because I don't think I've ever heard a bad thing about this series. Ever. So I really want to read it soon. Even though this book is massive. I could, like...
How many pages?
Hurt you with it. Take a guess. Oh my god, there's a key in the back.
823.
Oh my god, there's such cool stuff. So far,
and 25.
It's like 720, but like that.
Doesn't
That's
count.
like all extra stuff and whatever
That's
in the
like
back.
a calendar.
Yeah. 712. It looks like. I don't know. It looks like more to me, but it is so gorgeous. I love that book. Owie. We're almost done.
Are we?
Yeah. Then I picked up Hyperion by Dan Simmons, which my husband hates this cover. I bought this and he's like, why did you buy that? That cover's ugly. I don't know much about this book. I just hear that it is like an essential novel for any like sci-fi fan.
Alright, so Hyperion is the Superman version of Superman. He's the Superman.
He's Superman but Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay.
How'd you know?
Because you said that.
Oh.
You said superhero Marvel, and I was like, okay.
Okay.
Maybe none of the characters in Marvel are considered superheroes.
He's the superhero version of Jesus. I'm an idiot.
But yeah, like, you know, once again, I don't know much about it. I hear it is absolutely, like, an essential if you're a sci-fi fan and, like, a fantasy fan, and I'm both a fan of both. And I don't know. I think this cover looks really cool. That guy's, like, all spiky and silvery and metally and
he looks dumb.
Awesome.
That's the dumbest cover I've ever seen.
I don't mind it.
It looks like it was, like, made in the 90s.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you ever, like, come on. If you ever see, like, most fantasy and sci-fi, like, covers, for some reason, they have, like, the worst covers. Like, I love them. I love the stories, but, like, this is an amazing cover, but, like, look at this. That cover doesn't look good.
What is that, The Hobbit?
It does look like a Hobbit. But, like, none of these books, like, this cover's alright. It's kind of intriguing. He's, like, a pretty cool pirate dude. But, like...
I don't know, the Leia one's pretty good.
Yeah, but that's Disney. Anyway, so I just hear it's very essential if you're a sci-fi fan that this is a classic and you should read it, so I picked it up. I think it's actually a series. Let me know if you guys have read it. I know nothing about this one either. Go figure. Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. I just hear it's another must-read if you're a fantasy fan. Yep. I don't know anything about it. I can't gain enough from the back to give you, like, a synopsis quickly, but fantasy, he looks like an assassin of sorts. I love anything like fantasy with assassins and, like, just adventure and awesomeness, and it's always a plus if it has a little romance in there. But I guess it's not necessary. But it's always a plus. Then I decided to finally pick up the Red Rising trilogy. I know there's a new one coming out this month by Pierce Brown. I've heard so much about this series from so many YouTubers, and I just know that it's like a sci-fi adventurous type book. I don't know much about it, but again, don't want to know much about it. But I hear so many people raving about it, and the fact that I think it's getting a lot of hype right now because Iron Gold is coming out in January this month. I think it's actually coming out this week. And it's going to be like the continuance. So it's no longer a trilogy. So I finally want to see what all the hype is about. Then I found these books for really cheap, so I decided to get them. The Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy and the Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare. I can't read these yet because I hear you're supposed to read them after finishing the Mortal Instruments, and I have not finished the Mortal Instruments yet. I still have to read books 4, 5, and 6. But now I have them for when I'm ready to do so. Then I picked up Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston. Ahsoka's like one of my all-time favorite Star Wars characters, even though she hasn't been around like a super long time. I really, really wanted to find out what happened to her after Clone Wars and before Star Wars Rebels. If you guys watch the TV shows, it goes Clone Wars, then Rebels, but we don't know what happens to her in between. And this tells you basically exactly what happens. And I actually ended up, even though I bought the physical copy, I ended up getting the audiobook because once I heard a sample of it, I was like, I need this. Because it's actually voiced, the audiobook is narrated by the voice actress for Ahsoka in the shows. And she does such a good job, and the production is amazing. So, like, I would actually recommend probably the audiobook over the physical book, which is crazy because I would never really recommend the audio one over, like, actually sitting down and reading a book. Even though I love audiobooks and I listen to them all the time, they're usually still not as good as physically reading a book. But the production was so good for this one. There was sound effects and, like, background music, and just, like, there was always, like, constant, like, noise going on. So you felt like you were in the cantina when they were there, or outside on the plains, or, like, it was a really cool experience. So, like, kudos to Disney for putting that out, because it was really neat, and I liked the book a lot. Then, because I am a huge J. Kristoff fan now, because I love Nevernight in God's Grave and the Illuminae series, I decided to pick up his first trilogy, which is, what is it called? The Lotus War. So Storm Dancer, Kingslayer, and Endsinger. So I got all 3. This is 1, 2, and 3. I know nothing about this series, and I did that on purpose because I love J. Kristoff, and I don't want to go in with any, like, I don't want to know anything. That's how I went into Nevernight, and I'm so glad I did, even though I wouldn't be mad if I knew about it, but he makes really awesome worlds. I hear that this is, like, a Japanese steampunk type fantasy world, which I'm in. It sounds cool, and I just love his writing, and I really, really hope I like this series because I don't want to look down on one of my favorite authors. Then I picked up The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. All I know is that this book gets raved about a lot, and Holly Black in general gets raved about. I did just finish The Cruel Prince by her, and I thought it was okay. I think I ended up giving it, like, 3.5 or 4. I can't remember now. It's on my Goodreads if you guys want to check it out. But this one's about vampires, or a vampire. I'm pretty sure. But I hear nothing but good things about it. I wanted to pick it up to finally see, like, why people are raving about it. Even though I didn't overly love The Cruel Prince, I'm still pretty excited to read this because it does have such rave reviews. And I know that I'm not the only one that feels that way about The Cruel Prince, which makes me feel a little bit better. Then in one of my book boxes, I got Runebinder by Alex Kahler. Again, I don't really, I read the synopsis of this and it just doesn't, like, stick for some reason. Maybe I'm just bad with stuff like that until I go to, like, actually physically read the book. But I hear it has to do with magic and runes, obviously. I know that this book box, I believe it was a Unicorn Crate box, came with, like, a really awesome, like, thing, and I lost it. I don't know where it is. But it came with a really awesome, like, basically, like, the last Avatar looking, like, diagram with, like, their bending techniques. I know there's magic. Did I say that? I might have said that. But it actually sounds really cool. I haven't looked up to see what it got rated, but I'm willing to check it out anyway. I picked up the City of Bones 10th Anniversary Edition. Is this the 10th? Yes. Obviously, I own this book like a billion other people, but I really liked these gold edges, and I liked the fact that they had some artwork in them. There's some artwork like scattered throughout the book as well. There's actually quite a bit of artwork. Does that make sense? We're going with it. So yeah, I don't know if I'll actually be picking this up to read anytime soon because I did just read it last year, again. So I probably won't actually pick it up to read it. What is wrong with me? But yeah, I'm absolutely gonna sit down and like go through all the illustrations and stuff like that and see how good they are, because like just from glimpsing really quickly, they look pretty darn good. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for sticking through this with me. I'm sorry again that I didn't go really into detail about a lot of these books, but I don't want to get them ruined for me, and I don't really want to ruin them for you either. I'm just kind of giving you like my reasons why I picked them up and what I've heard about them. Let me know down below if you guys have read any of these, what you think about any of them, if you think I wasted my time by buying them, or my time and money. Let me know down below also what you guys are planning on reading in 2018. I do have a book club going, so I will put a link for you up here as to the January one. The two books we picked for January were The Summer That Melted Everything and An Enchantment of Ravens. So if you wanted to get on that, like I said, I'll put a link up there for you. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked it. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to hit that little bell down below if you want to be notified when we come out with new videos. I have another book haul coming up very soon. I had a big book outlet haul. So none of these are from that haul. That's going to be a separate video because it would have just been too crazy to do. But check that out when it gets there, and thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.